All my life, I've been a global traveller, seeking cultures and traditions that are just as vibrant today as in times past. We're opening doors, stepping into worlds most never see, because that's where the best stories are, behind closed doors. We're sharing stories of local life and the working world, plus spending time with some of the most interesting people you'd ever want to meet. It's truly privileged access that always leaves me excited to explore more. In the period drama Downton Abbey, this imposing castle and way of life was kept alive by the wealth of an American heiress. A story of marriage and status that actually played out many times in real life. Over a period of 30 years, more than $20 billion in today's money came shuttling across the Atlantic to prop up Britain's aristocracies and their stately homes. The estate is in reality Highclere Castle, and its history is equally compelling, as it too was rescued by English heiress Almina Wombwell.
Lady Almina came here as a young 19-year-old bride in 1895. She was the daughter of Alfred de Rothschild. She was actually illegitimate and married Geordie's great-grandfather. She then acquired immediately a wonderful place in society. Really, her inheritance, which she brought here, is terribly important to the family, and it means we're still here today.
Much as in the television series, the world at Highclere Castle changed abruptly with the onset of World War I, and Lady Almina stepped forward, committing the estate to help support the war effort.
She turned Highclere into a hospital. She took in patients, officers who were wounded in the Somme, in Gallipoli.
Including officers from the Royal Flying Corps, with the early aircraft who had broken bones but survived crashing.
She made such a difference to so many people's lives.
Each room is beautifully decorated with a personality all of its own. One room, well known in the series, is not surprisingly missing its most notorious guest. So this looks like the room where the Turkish fellow met his end.
I know, you're completely right, and then ended up being dragged around the corridor.
With privileged access to Highclere Castle, Viking offers a relaxed, immersive experience here. Every room, every display speaks volumes about the intriguing, enduring family history, including an extensive Egyptian exhibit where Highclere's kitchen used to be.
She's from about 3,500 years old or so.
The collection came from excavations by the 5th Earl of Carnarvon.
My great-grandfather, the 5th Earl, he was an extraordinary adventurer. He was such an inquisitive man. Of course, he teamed up with Howard Carter and then found the rock-cut steps down to Tutankhamun's tomb, and the two men together then opened up the archaeological find probably of all time, really.
If you've ever been intrigued by the lifestyles of the British aristocracy, join Viking for an exploration of Highclere Castle. We can't wait to share with you the glories of times gone by. On my visits to Highclere Castle, I've made friends with many of their loyal, personable staff. One of my favourites is Pat Withers, whose career began when the Carnarvons approached her family with a question.
Would we consider coming to paint the exterior of the castle? I'd never ever seen the castle. So we came up, we took one look, and our father said, "Got to be joking." But we took on the job and we started painting on the castle, and that was in 1960. In them days, you did anything. You just didn't do painting and decorating because you wanted work. I've cleaned windows, dug post holes, swept chimneys, put up fences, you name it, I think I've done it. My father unfortunately died in '64, and I was called into the office, and Mr. Stubbing said, as long as ever you want work, as long as we work here for you. His lordship had said so. Everywhere that needs a door painting, it is Pat's doors. Every single house door, all in the courtyard, on the big garage doors. It's a blue-grey colour. Lady Carnarvon calls it blue, I call it grey. Unfortunately, the manufacturer, in their wisdom, decided to change the colour. We couldn't find another one, so one was mixed. I said, now how about that one? Lady Carnarvon said, that's absolutely brilliant. What do you call it? I said, it's Pat's Doors. And ever since that day, it's called Pat's Doors. What I love about Highclere is the warmth and the love of the place. It'll always be with me. It's absolutely fantastic. With this present Lady Carnarvon, you can't do anything else but feel that.
I hope you'll do as I did and spend time exploring the wonders of Highclere Castle for yourself. Viking's almost family connection to Highclere Castle has given me the opportunity to get to know some of their trusted staff. One I'm always happy to see is Mike Withers, the beekeeper.
I live very close to the Highclere Park, so I don't have far to travel to visit my bees. Bees have been kept in this park for quite a few years now because it's a good yielding plot. A lot of people think that bees are a horrible thing, a horrible insect, but they're not. As long as there's plenty for the bees to do, you can stand there by the hive and you'll see them going in and out, and they don't even say, what are you doing? What we normally do, we carry a smoker, we give them a little puff of smoke, which quietens them. You can lift the frames out and look at them and do what you like with them.
Even without smoking, the bees are pretty gentle creatures, so I was able to peer inside a hive without a protective suit.
You often see a lot of beekeepers with short sleeve shirts, no gloves at all, and an open neck shirt and no veil. As long as there's plenty for the bees to do, they're just more interested in working. It was around about 1950 we did a project on bees, and that gave me the bug. It's fantastic, it really is fantastic. And the more you get into it, the more you just can't leave it alone. People that say, I bought some of your honey and you made a good job of it. I didn't make a good job of it, the bees did it, not me. I only bottled it. Lady Carnarvon, she is very, very understanding as to what we need. Even Lady Carnarvon's father-in-law, he was very, very much in conservation. You don't get no bickering in the beehive. The only time that you see two bees fight is if one bee tries to get in the wrong hive. If he's loaded with honey, you let him in, and then they kill him.
I hope you'll do as I did and spend time exploring the wonders of Highclere Castle for yourself. Highclere Castle, the real Downton Abbey, is one of the most beautiful places I know. Its meticulously manicured grounds were long tended by head gardener Don Dorsett, who lived on the property with his wife and my good friend Gwyn. A curious soul by nature, Gwyn has come to know this expansive estate perhaps better than anyone else over the years.
This is your world.
It is my world. Highclere has been my world for 50 years.
Many people would envy you for that.
I know they would.
Imagine having nearly 5,000 acres to explore, all just beyond your back door.
For those that haven't been to Highclere before, how would you describe sort of the nature in the fields?
It's so beautiful. The landscape here is rolling. It's up and down. Nothing stays level unless you level it.
Gwyn recognised early that she was blessed with both time and opportunity, and she's long taken full advantage of both.
You do many walks a day?
3 or 4 times sometimes. I did a 5-mile walk the other day.
And do you ever get bored with the landscape?
Never.
While the broad landscapes shift with light and the seasons, one of the most surprising elements is the abundance of wildlife on the Highclere estate.
There's deer in the morning down in the fields. There's foxes, quite a lot of foxes. They are pheasants around, yes. There's white owl, sometimes you might be seeing on the fence post.
Lots of horses.
9 horses. And they've had 2 foals last year. Yeah, 2 lovely foals. Hello, pigs.
Oh my God, they're so big.
Aren't they beautiful? We have now got a pair of white Gloucesters who's had piglets. And they're really very quite cute and smart, and they actually grunt and talk when you talk to them.
Do they? And most importantly, the current Lord Carnarvon's
Dogs. Yeah. They've got 7 or 8 dogs now, and they let them run in the fields. They play very good.
There used to be more livestock on the estate.
It was cattle, and I used to help with them. I used to feed the calves, go and take them into the fields and bring them back out again. And I delivered one. Yeah, that was some going. That was really good, really.
But there are no cattle here today.
No, it's only sheep.
Lots of sheep.
Yeah, 3,000 or more.
You've served how many earls?
3. Well, I haven't worked for him, but Don did.
Yeah, Don did. Yeah. When you came here, it was the current Lord Carnarvon's
grandfather.
Yeah.
He was a very interested lord. He was a nice old man. He used to go and interfere with Don in the garden. He loved secateurs.
Yeah.
He used to go around and trim.
He helped him out, did he? The Lord helped Don out?
Yeah. He had a walking stick and he walked with one arm behind the back and whopping the dandelion heads off as he went along. Get rid of them dandelions, he was going.
Over the years, Gwyn has had little interest in venturing beyond the expansive Highclere estate, even after her husband Don passed away, preferring instead to immerse herself in nature and creating art. In fact, many people know her as the Butterfly Lady. Surprisingly, her interest in travel spiked when I showed her the itinerary for Viking's longest ever world cruise. Since Gwen didn't have a passport, she asked to have 2 of her butterflies sail on board, so they could see the world for her and be photographed at various ports of call. I'm not sure if my mention of the world cruise was the trigger, but recently Gwen's curiosity finally got the best of her, and she changed her life in the blink of an eye.
I woke up on Friday morning, just sat up. I said, I'm going, I'm off. So I packed my bags, got a train on Tuesday and went to Exeter. Beautiful ride. And I looked round Exeter and I thought, oh, that's not bad.
But one new city was not enough, and Gwyn caught another train.
Went from Exeter the same day down to Plymouth.
Okay.
And I looked all around and nice, and I thought, I better find somewhere to stay.
And you thought a good place to sleep might be?
The park bench.
And you thought that was safe enough?
If somebody wants to knock me off and that's my way, it's knocked off.
But then someone came to your rescue, right, and said you don't really sleep on a park bench these days. But
No.
you ended up in a hotel room or in a pub?
Yes, a hotel room. Bed and breakfast and evening meal.
With no planning but a desire to discover, Gwyn kept on going and going.
Then I booked into Elmouth, up north, 2 separate places, and I'm waiting now to go again.
I I seized the moment and we were off.
We went into London together a few weeks ago. And it was your
First.
first?
For proper London.
Yeah.
Proper London.
Yeah, first time in proper London. And on your way in, you made some remarks.
It was too close and scary.
Was it?
Yeah. Too much. The amount of traffic on the road, it was just there, pressing in, too near.
A bit different from here.
Good grief. It's just like cage work. And they're in a cage. Jeepers creepers. It's just mind-boggling. Take me back.
Back where?
Home to Highclere. I'm not used to seeing people looking like they're caged in when I've got so much freedom here.
Once in the city, we began our delightful weekend of firsts.
It's a beautiful buildings, really, clean.
It was great fun seeing London through fresh eyes.
Oh, this is the first time I've stepped on London streets in my life.
With those first steps, Gwyn's spirits were high as we entered Cadogan Hall, where a classical music concert filled this intimate setting with energy and enthusiasm throughout the evening. Conducted by noted composer and another friend, Debbie Wiseman, the performance was sponsored by Viking and was being filmed to be shown later on board Viking ships. Despite spending many of her days in solitude at Highclere, Gwyn was anything but a wallflower and enthusiastically joined in. I had another experience to share here, and of course, Gwyn was game for anything.
What I'm in?
Yeah.
Cadogan.
You're in Cadogan Hall and you're backstage.
Backstage.
You were backstage.
It was a chance for Gwyn to experience true privileged access.
You're on stage now.
Gwyn's curiosity immediately bubbled to the surface and brought with it an unending list of fascinating questions. Then it was time for yet another first.
I'm now on Sloane Square having my first Irish coffee. Where's me whiskers?
And of course, we couldn't forget Gwyn's handmade butterflies.
Rose and George have had a wonderful evening at the concert at Sloane Square.
Before closing the day, we took in a bit of the city by night. And in particular, drove by one icon that's a must for anyone who visits London.
I am now at Harrods for the first time in my life. I'm looking out the window, admiring it. Beautiful frocks in the front, too expensive for me to even look at. They wouldn't last long cutting a hedge in Highclere. I should never forget this outing I'm on.
Why?
It's the first time I've done an outing like this with friends. We'll go in the back or the front.
Yeah, we have to go in the back.
Can we go to Fulham Front, please?
To the Fulham Road.
A new day was upon us, and Gwyn was ready for her first steps into Harrods.
I can't believe it.
This is a place where the word opulent feels inadequate.
It's amazing.
Remember to get off, get off.
We are now in Harrods with my friend Katrina.
Or perhaps Karina as well?
And my friend Karine.
After a quick look around, it was time to get to work. You see, we had another concert in the evening and wanted Gwen to look her very best. The search was on for just the right look.
Happy colours.
Perhaps, but no.
Couldn't walk down the streets of Highclere with one of these.
Couldn't cut the hedge with that.
On second thought,
No, that's too wicked. That was too wicked.
enjoying your gossip magazine?
Finished. I'm now in the saloon with Katrina.
Or Karina, perhaps.
Or Karina, perhaps.
Go on.
Going to have my hair cut and shaped
By Vlad.
by Vlad.
Oh, Vlad. How about your lipstick? Your
The lipstick and powder and paint as well.
This trip brought many surprises, but I think my favourite was Gwen's first ever lipstick. You have to put it on. Whoops. There it is. What's the name of the lipstick?
Rouge, Cocoa Flash.
And on the top it says, live.
I can't put lipstick on.
Go on then. Few can match Gwen's delightful spirit. You have to move it up from the bottom a little bit. Everything is a new adventure, and she embraces each one. Go on. Turning everyday experiences for many of us into memories that will warm my heart for years. I love that colour.
Beautiful.
Just a few more steps in Gwen's transformation. With a cut here and a snip there, Vlad stepped in to work his magic and deliver a masterpiece. Wow! Wow! Vlad! Is that Gwen or Gwyn?
Gwen.
Finally, the evening was upon us, and we set off for one of London's most beloved locations, the Royal Albert Hall. This impressive venue has hosted some of the city's most prestigious events, and it was the perfect spot to end Gwen's very first outing in London. I hope she'll long treasure it as much as I will. Where's Gwyn headed next? It's difficult to predict. In fact, after hearing Gwen's story, a high-ranking member of the House of Lords invited her for tea at the house. And Gwen's not stopping there. At age 78, she has her first passport. In the meantime, Gwen continues to enjoy life amid the sublime beauty of the Highclere Castle estate. Join us again here on Viking.TV as we open more doors around the world on our quest to explore the planet's most fascinating cultures and delightful traditions.